few topics I want to get into as we are fully into the off season today. First thing we got to talk about is TJ Otzelberger gets extended.
Yep. So earlier today, I think it was yesterday, Iowa State Athletics announced the 10-year contract extension for head the men's basketball head coach T.J. Otzelberger. This is a 10-year, $60 million deal. So T.J. Otzelberger will receive $6 million annually, and there also is a clause related to his buyout where it's a $4 million buyout if he does choose to go to another college basketball team or the NBA. And then there's also something like if he gets fired or whatever, there's another clause too, which states that he has to repay Iowa State the amount of money it would have taken for them in the event of his firing.
Right. So I mean, everybody sees the $4 million ballot and freak out, but that other clause sort of makes it so to where it basically motivates him to
Mm-hmm.
keep the good momentum that he has. And with that, there was a big recruiting visit for the Cyclones this weekend as well.
Yeah. Before we get to that, I think real quick too, we want to talk about that. I want to just kind of peek over that $4 million buyout. I've heard, and I was listening to two guys earlier. Chris Hassel had mentioned like T.J. Altsberger's buyout of $4 million is in the middle of the pack, and then you obviously have like the different coaches in college basketball with Todd Golden and Tommy Lloyd and their buyouts. And I mean, if you try to do a $15 million buyout, I think at that point TJ would just go to North Carolina or a Kentucky.
Hmm.
But TJ has stated like he was one of those coaches. He was the a coach who was like he was just straightforward about it. He didn't wait until like the off season or anything. He just came up there unscripted and just straight up said that he's staying at Iowa State. He wasn't,
Hmm.
and he denied going to North Carolina. So that is great. And I mean, Iowa State has their guy, and I think this is really good. This is good for the Iowa State basketball program to have.
Yeah, I think this also just further proves that Iowa State is in this new in this NIL era. It seems like they're going like further in on basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I think not giving Campbell that contract for football showed us that they were sort of wanted to go. At least this is my like observation that they wanted to go more in on basketball
Yeah.
because they probably feel like they have a better shot of winning a national championship in basketball than they do in football.
Yeah, and I think that's a reality that maybe some fans don't want to see. But I think there is a possibility where maybe at some point football can be competitive. But I think right now, if we're talking basketball, is definitely like the higher upside, considering that T.J. Otzelberger
Hmm.
uh, has led Iowa State to three Sweet 16s in 5 years, led them to a title in the Big 12, and then as well as like really good, like being in the top 10 pretty much all year in the AP poll.
Yeah, and then you already have like a top 10 recruiting class coming in for next year's team. A top 50 recruit at that visiting right now. A guy that I think that they've been that's been on the radar since middle school. Another Milwaukee guy.
Yeah. So this is so Donovan Davis. I'm getting this from Alec Bussey's report on 24/7 Sports. This is from yesterday. Donovan Davis is a 6'7" forward. You can insert the meme here from Calacawana, Wisconsin, and he did visit Iowa State's campus yesterday. And Psycho Fanatic, I've seen the photos too. And it's all on his Instagram too. That the Cardinal gold already looks nice on him. Like if we like, for example, this is from yeah, this is what Donovan Davis shared on his Instagram. So, I mean, that gold and dear God, he's wearing Milan Mochilovic's number. Dear
Oh
God.
baby,
But you know what I love too? I love like this right here. I love when they do like the white like
that looks
uniforms
so
in the
retro. I
film.
love that.
Yep. Let's see, and that's what I love about that. But yeah, yeah. So Davis has already had official visits earlier in the month
Yeah.
to Wisconsin, Iowa, Marquette, and Nebraska. So this was like one of his like last stops on his official visits. And I mean, if Iowa State's able to land Donovan Davis, this can be like another huge thing. And I mean, there already has that blueprint that Teach Alsburg's laid out. It's like you come to Iowa State, you're from the state of Wisconsin, you are going to succeed. We've seen this with Milan Mochilovic already, and presumably Milan's going to be drafted because I haven't like unless something changes, he's going to be drafted to a team. And I even saw a a mock draft in the field of 68 that said like Milan could possibly be like at the end of the first round going to the Mavericks 30th overall, right behind Joshua Jefferson
Oh,
going to
oh
who
my
would go
god,
to Cleveland in that mock draft.
dude, dude, man, can you imagine him and
Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag and me? Oh my,
Yeah, so that's a
oh,
yeah. So and you already have Jamarian Bateman too, who's coming out of Wisconsin, and so I think that's a really good layout. So I like our chances, but we'll wait and see. But this would be a really nice grab for Iowa State if they were to land Donovan Davis.
yeah, we'll have to see in the next upcoming or in this upcoming year, see what happens.
Yep.
But really, really excited to see
Yeah.
the direction of Iowa State basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's going to be really nice. Talk about, and then on the other side of the basketball to the women's side of basketball, another assistant has decided to retire. Latoya Shaman has decided her departure from the program after 28 years service under head coach Bill Fennelly. So she's been there about as long as Bill Fennelly has been there. So in her statement she released on Twitter, um, she expressed how grateful she was to have this opportunity and thank the fans for their unwavering support. It was honor of her to coach driven, passionate, inspiring young women, and she will look to pursue a new opportunity. But I mean, she spent so much time here, and we also got a quote from Bill Fennelly too that said like she's very family oriented, and it's allowed her to be close to them at this point in her career, and that she always will have a special place in his heart. So, going to wish Latoya the best wherever she goes. I mean, she was a very she was very integral for what this women's basketball program was for the past like 25 years.
Oh yeah, and we will never forget her efforts. So we thank her for that.
Hmm. And still, real quick, I have to highlight something else for the women's basketball side. Alum Bridget Carlton has arrived to Portland to be like she was because a while ago she was drafted as the first overall pick in the expansion draft. So she is now in Portland. So sad to see her go because I was a Lynx fan mainly because of Bridget Carlton. She got me introduced to the Lynx. But I mean, excited to see what Bridget Carlton does, and it's cool to keep up with alum. So, so yeah. So I go from that, and then we glossed over this a little bit when it comes to Iowa State, but I mentioned the field of 68 mock draft. So this is what they have here. So they have AJ DeBonsa and Darren Peterson out of the Big 12 being the number one and two pick overall.
Hmm.
Well,
That
so I mean,
I
we're seeing this. What are you thinking? Like when you first see this?
I mean, it seems well. Number one, the Bulls are going to win the draft lottery, so the Bulls are drafting AJ Devonta. Um, but man, you think about AJ Devonta and Darren Peterson. We
Hmm.
figured that those were going to be the top two, but man, you think about Darren Peterson. What's the guy on Arizona? The guy that played for
Great
Arizona.
Burries. Yeah, he was
No,
on this.
on
Cole
the
Pete
Pacers. He
on the
played for a
pace.
few. Man, it's not. My name is not coming, but him, Darren Peterson with man with Halliburton.
Oh yeah.
My goodness, that's going to be a deadly combination. And then you have Asia DeBonta, who's going to be wherever he goes, he's going to be a franchise-changing player. Um, man, it's going to be awesome.
Hmm. Yeah, some other names to note too. In this top 10, you have Cam Boozer going to Utah, Keen Wagler going to Atlanta, and then Kingston Fleming's heading to the Mavericks, and then Braden Burry's heading to Milwaukee.
Man, I really, really hope that he ends up with the Bulls. Cause and then and one of them I saw they even him going to the Bulls.
Hmm.
I mean, Nate Ament is all right, but I'd rather have Braden Burries.
Yeah.
To be honest
Uh,
with you,
yep. And then you have some more Big 12 players in the next 10. Chris Senick out of Houston going to Oklahoma City, so he would be joining SGA and Chet Holmgren. You also have your Bulls. They would also draft like in this at least in this mock draft they would draft Jaden Quaintance, and I don't know about that one if you ask me.
no, I mean those are two big men, and it wouldn't
Hmm.
make that doesn't make sense for the Bulls, especially since they're going to be starting from scratch because they're still in the process of hiring their front office people and their head coach. So
Hmm.
a lot. I mean, I think this is just based off of what they would have had if Billy Donovan was still their head coach.
Hmm.
But I just yeah, I think it's going to be totally different.
Yep. And then names, and then you have Yaxel Lenneborg in this mock draft going to Memphis. Christian Anderson heading to Charlotte. Koa Pete heading to the Spurs, and then you also have Bennett Sturts heading to Toronto.
Minnesota to Toronto is interesting. Koa Pete on the Spurs would be amazing with already with Steph Castle and
Web, dude.
with Wemby. Oh
Hmm.
my gosh,
Yeah. And then
that
yeah.
front court would be insane.
Hmm. And then you also have Cameron Carr heading to Detroit, so he'd be joining Cade Cunningham. We saw what Cameron Carr did for Baylor. Also have so yeah, Henry Vasar heading to the Lakers, and we mentioned it. Our Iowa State alum Joshua Jefferson would join Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland, and then Milan Momcilovic would join Cooper Flag. But and then if you follow this mock draft, you would have a big three of Cooper Flag, Kingston Flemings, and Milan Momcilovic.
Now that would be something. That would be a pretty formidable big three in the West, especially
Hmm.
when you're in an era that it's going to be Luca's team, Luca's Lakers. With that team and then the Spurs, I
Hmm.
think those could be the top teams in the West, in the next 10 years.
Hmm. Yep. So that's like so. Really, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what happens in this draft, and I don't know what's going to happen. So really excited to see, and hopefully, assuming that the playoffs go the way they are right now, my Minnesota Timberwolves are up right now in the NBA playoffs. Yeah, so we're hoping to finish the job against Denver tonight. So that game will tip off at 8:30. So I'm gonna be up watching that.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yep.
Um, One thing I wanted to talk about since we still, we got some time. We're only like 13 minutes in. Let's like Cody. This is a sport that I usually don't even talk about near the end of this month.
Hmm.
Cody,
What we got?
jeez, let's talk about baseball, man. Like the Braves, dude. A walk off was a walk off 3-run homer yesterday to beat the
2 run.
Tigers. Our two
Yep.
run homer to beat the Tigers 4-3. The White
Yep.
Sox coming off winning in the 10th inning to go to 14-17 on the year, which is
Hmm.
better than the Phillies, the Mets, a lot of teams who thought they were going to contend.
Hmm.
I honestly I think it's surprising for where both of our teams are at.
Yeah. Yep. My team actually they played the Tigers. The game just wrapped up. They unfortunately fell short 5-2, but we are still the only team in in all of MLB to have never lost a series. So come at me. So we'll have the Colorado Rockies tomorrow. That should be barbecue. But yeah, you mentioned the White Sox. They are right. Yeah, they are a couple games behind Detroit and Cleveland for the AL Central, and Atlanta's just running away right now with the NL East. There's nobody in our division that even comes close. The closest team to us is 6.5 games behind, and that's the Marlins.
Wow. And who would have thought that?
Hmm.
Like you see, like the teams that you thought were gonna suck are actually in the race right now.
Yeah.
And I just think from a White Sox standpoint, like you see with the White Sox that with their talent, like their young talent, they keep bringing talent up and they keep producing. I actually have more like faith in this rebuild than the previous one because these guys are actually really really good and they're playing with a type of confidence. Um, obviously Munetaka Murakami, but the other
Hmm.
star we have is Colson Montgomery, who has been a revelation ever since he's come up in the big leagues the second half of last season. I mean, it's absolutely amazing, dude. Like they have a 6 game road trip going out west, I believe, with the Mariners and the Padres. But if they can do that, then they have a 10 game homestand, which is including a series against the Cubs. I mean, if they could still contend by the end of May, we may have something cooking. in the oven with the White Sox here.
Hmm. This make this baseball talk. This does make me miss like when like I wasn't alive for this, but Iowa State having baseball. There is gonna be a day where Iowa State gets baseball back. I don't know when that day will be, but we'll get it someday.
We will. And
Hmm.
you know what else that needs to happen, which is going to cost a lot of money, is the NHL playoffs is going on, and we need to have an outdoor game in the wintertime at Jack Trice Stadium. That's what
Mm.
I'm envisioning. 60,000 fans with their hockey jerseys on, playing Minnesota in the
Ooh,
cold with a goal horn, beers in
yeah,
hand.
yeah. So
I
let's
need
see.
that.
So that would be what Minnesota and Chicago. So
Yes.
that's probably like the two most popular hockey teams in the state of Iowa.
Yeah, Blackhawks and the Wild.
Because I mean, you could see Detroit or St. Louis, but yeah, it would be Minnesota, Chicago.
That's how I was when I was there. When I was
Hmm.
in college, when the what Blackhawks and Wild were facing off in
Yep.
the playoffs, and
Hmm.
everyone was wearing their jerseys.
Yeah,
It was
I need to
awesome.
bust out that hockey jersey. So, so we talk about like a lot of these like good things that should happen. You want to know one thing that should not be happening but is happening?
What's that?
The NCAA has officially announced that like they have decided to move forward with the move towards expanding the NCAA tournament to 76 teams.
I don't understand why. I know it's in the name of money, but
Yeah.
like why? Like obviously yes, money, but I don't. It's so greedy. Like now you're just rewarding mediocrity. You know what's
Yep.
gonna happen now? There's gonna be a 16. You know what's gonna happen now? Teams like Auburn are going to make the tournament now, especially when they don't even deserve to be anywhere near the tournament.
Yep. And this is exactly what I have up here. This is from Chris Maneni on Twitter. So this is a hypothetical. So if like this past season's tournament had 76 teams, this would be like what your first round matchups and whatever. So yeah, the whole Auburn. Yeah, Auburn would be facing off against Indiana. Dude, I, I don't.
It's a
It
shame,
gets
dude.
to a point. It gets to a point where it's like at this point you might as well just like forget the regular season and let's just have the entire thing be a tournament. Let's play a 370 team tournament. Get everybody that's in Division One, put them all together, and we'll just play the tournament.
See, this is what happens when you have TV people run like college sports because it starts to get to this foolishness and nobody wants to see this. Like you're like the problem is that college sports is definitely start trying to cater too much to the casuals that watch it and not the diehards that have been watching it for years. It
No.
doesn't make any type of sense at all.
Hmm. I saw a meme that perfectly represents this whole thing. It says here, so this is a quote. It says, "Quote to Jay Billis: Never underestimate the NCAA's capacity to do something stupid." So this is from
Yeah.
college sports only.
Yep.
I think this is the perfect representation.
Facts. Facts. It's so true. It makes
So
no
basically, the
sense.
mid majors, there's going to be even lower chances for the mid majors to do something in this tournament because now
You're gonna, yeah,
they have to play a team that's a seed line higher than they would have in this original model. So
yeah.
now
Which
if you're
means, go ahead.
so now
Sorry.
if you're like what a 13 seed, you get bumped down to a 14. You have to play a 3 seed instead of being a 13 playing a 4.
It's the dumbest thing ever, and I don't understand. Like once again, what are we doing? Like we're doing this in the name of money, but sometimes like you can't mess with something that's already been a commodity that's already worked. Like why are you messing with something that's already been a thing for years? We just got used to 68. Now you want to add eight more teams for what?
Hmm. I don't know. I know either. So That's unfortunate. So this is not something that I want to have, but yeah. Uh, I guess we'll have to live and see what happens with the field of 76. And I guess that, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's 68, 76. Iowa State, we are still winning the national championship. Whoever you
We are
put in front of us,
you
we are defeating
damn
them.
right. You damn right. We are winning the national championship.
Hmm. Yep. So from winning the national championship in basketball, we have some odds to. Wait, did we already talk about like the odds of winning the Big 12? I think we did a while
We
ago.
did not. We can get into that right now since we
Yeah.
don't have anything else to talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. So currently, here's the list of the odds to win the Big 12. College football next, and I'm presuming this is from FanDuel, but if not, this is probably pretty close to what you would see on FanDuel. But it is clear, even with the news of Brendan Sorsby, that Texas Tech is still the uh, front runner right now to win the Big 12, which indirectly basically states that no matter what who Texas Tech puts a quarterback, they're still miles ahead of the rest of this conference, which probably says a lot about like the quality of the conference, at least in the eyes of many around the country.
True, but are we absolutely sure that? Because sometimes, like, yes, a roster can withstand bad quarterback play, but Cody, we got to understand that this is their third string quarterback, man. Because like, yes, they still might have the talent to like overcome that, but a third string QB, you can't really gloss over that. Like I think that could be something that possibly could be their downfall, and maybe they lose some games that they should. Not saying that they, will. I'm just saying that's something that we could definitely. That's something that could definitely be, um,
Uses
you
like
know,
a like used maybe against them in a way.
yeah, it's definitely something that could be used against them. I still
Mm-hmm.
think that they'll be like 10-2 or 11-1. Um, BYU is interesting for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with because they lost an experienced receiver and Roberts.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Kingston, yeah, and then Kingston got kicked off the team, right?
yeah. So he got married, yeah, and then he is off the team because of court cases against him.
Yes.
But I mean, you still have Bear Bachmeyer there, and I think with the talent with a quarterback like him, he can probably haul you to like 8 or 9 wins, like just with his like a good enough. If you have good enough receivers around Bear Bachmeyer, he's going to make the most out of it. And with development of Bachmeyer, I like where BYU stands again. But I wonder if maybe there is some point where hopefully they can get past like because they're still second the second team in like obvious in the conference. They're still like in that second tier, but I think it's just the gap is closed. It's a little bit closer between BYU, Utah, Texas Tech, but there's still a pretty wide gap. So that's the thing that they have to make up for. And I guess for yeah, and looking at BYU's schedule, they do not have to play. Yeah, they don't have to play Texas Tech. They do have that game against Notre Dame, which is huge. You have the Holy War, and then so those two games are probably huge, and then we'll play them to see where we're at. And also, I look to maybe I guess yeah, those are probably the 2 or 3 games I look at is the game against Notre Dame, the Holy War, and then a game against us, like just for personal
Yeah.
reasons. But that puts I mean that puts Utah at like plus 750 as the third best odds to win the conference. And obviously with the departure of Kyle Whittingham, we'll have to see how Utah reshapes. But they do have that private equity deal, and I know the Big 12 also announced something too when it comes to private equity. I have to see if I can find that. But in the meantime, where like this is pretty early, but I think Utah's in a really good position to be right there. But I just don't know, like, if they can like get to the point where they are like that elite tier, like maybe what they were when they were in the Pac-12 and they won the Pac-12 and went to the Rose Bowl 2 years in a row.
One thing, yeah, Utah is gonna be it's gonna be interesting because Morgan Scalley's gonna be the head coach. Kyle Whittingham left and went to not head coaching at Michigan now, so that's gonna be an interesting thing. Is how is Utah gonna go without a coach that they've had for like the last 2 decades? I think that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like they're basically gonna have the same team, but what is Morgan Scalley's coaching style going to be like. Another
Hmm.
team
And
who I oh go ahead.
yeah, yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, you were probably gonna allude to them. Kansas State was the had the next best odds. They're tied with Houston at plus 1400. And I mean, the big story. Well, for Houston, they still have Willie Fritz. I think they're on the up and up, so they're going to be trending higher. But Kansas State's in a interesting position, obviously, with Avery Johnson returning. But then you also have the new head coach in Colin Klein, and I think we said it before. The fans already love this move that Colin Klein is coaching for Kansas State.
Yeah, because he was the offensive coordinator in 2023 when they made the quarterback change in the bowl game. And they put Avery Johnson, or actually Avery Johnson was splitting time with Will Howard um, in 2023 before Will Howard left to go to Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think um, if we take a look at K State's schedule real quick, um, they have a pretty favorable first 6 games. So I mean, I know with them, like here we're gonna go over their first 6 games.
Mm-hmm. So looking at like
First
their
six
yeah,
games are. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. So their schedule. Yeah, I was gonna let you say since you brought it up.
Oh yeah, I got it. So their first 6 games are Nicholls State, Washington State, Tulane at Cincinnati off week, Houston and Kansas. So you start off 5 of the first 6 games, which we don't know what Cincinnati is going to be at all. Um, so a lot of people are thinking that there's no reason why that Kansas State shouldn't start 5-1 or maybe 6-0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that one loss would be what to Houston would be my guess, or
Either Houston
Kansas finally gets over
yeah,
the hump.
Houston probably, yeah,
Yeah, so
or
Houston would probably.
Cincinnati.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Cincinnati. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So Cincinnati. Well, it depends on what Cincinnati looks like, but yeah, yeah. If you're a Kansas State fan, there should be no
true.
excuse for you to not at least go 5-1. And then looking at your back half of the schedule, Iowa State and Arizona State are probably your two toughest games road wise. And then TCU, who knows what TCU can do, but I think they can win that one. Arizona could be a feisty team when they walk into Bill Snyder Memorial Stadium. But yeah, I would
I
think
mean, Oklahoma State could be too.
yeah. So I guess if you're Kansas State, if I was in their shoes, gross in any way, shape, or form, I would guess what your floor is 8-4.
Yeah, their floor is 8-4, and their ceiling's probably 11-1.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I
Yeah.
hate to say that, that for the first half of that schedule, you can't deny is very advantageous.
Mm-hmm. Listen. It will be all okay if they are 11-0 and we're the reason they are 11-1. Okay.
I'll take it.
And somehow, some way, the tiebreaker like falls in the way where we somehow screwed them out of going to the Big 12 title game.
And that would be the last time in a long time we play them in Farmageddon,
Oh,
unless it's in the title game.
yeah, at least on a like a yearly annual basis, but
It
yeah,
would be
so
a good that would be a good way to send them off with a loss. four
hmm
four 4 years in a row.
yep, that would be beautiful. So just to throw a little rub at them, but yeah, the other team we mentioned, Houston, that game could be an important game for Willie Fritz and company to see where they are. I do like I think we've talked about their schedule a bit. I really like their schedule. Um, like but the early test they'll have is a Texas Tech. So that's going to be an early test for Houston, and we'll have to see what Houston's made of in that game in Lubbock.
Yeah, because they got stomped at home against Texas, the Red Raiders,
Yep.
uh, last year at home. So we'll see
Like
how
most
they
teams in the
show
Big
up.
12 did.
Sure, good point. Good point.
Hmm. So you have that, and then the Arizona schools are at plus 2,000. We'll be seeing Arizona in Tucson. I don't think we'll be seeing Arizona State this year. Then Baylor is
We don't
Baylor
play
and
Arizona
Oklahoma.
State till 2027.
Yeah, so we'll see Arizona and Tucson in September. Then we get to Baylor and Oklahoma State. We get Oklahoma State on Halloween. Then we get Baylor the following week. They're both at plus 2,700. Kansas is at plus 3,000. UCF is at plus 3,500. I'm curious to see how that game in Orlando is going to go for Iowa State. That thing is probably going to be rocking. We'll have to see. West Virginia is at plus 4,000. And then the Cincinnati and Iowa State tie for the second worst odds at plus 6,500. So those two teams, we'll have to see where they are. And then Colorado is at the bottom at plus 10,000.
Yeah, I yeah, Colorado's doing me at plus 10,000. Something is telling me though that Iowa State is not going to be 15th. I don't think we're going to be as bad as people think we are.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think that I'm crazy for saying that, but like as long as you have a good defense that keeps you in games, I think the at least we'll at least either be 5-7 or 6-6.
Yeah, 5-7 is probably my floor. You get to six. You get to 6 wins. That'll be a win. That'll be a win in my book.
Yeah,
7-5. Yeah, that's. I think 7 to 8 wins would be really overachieving.
it would. It'd be like
Unless unless we decide to pull a 2024 Arizona State and just go win the conference.
dude, can you imagine if we're like 2024 Arizona State and
That
we
would
go
be a
and win the conference?
that would be a full circle moment because we were on the we were on the receiving end of that. Then we decide to be the bringers of pain.
You know how this is gonna end, right?
Hmm.
We're what you know what's gonna happen is that Texas Tech is going to have a uh a quarterback that goes on a run, and then we go on an insane. We start off like 2-2 or whatever, or 3-2, and then we
Hmm.
go off on an insane run, and we put belt to Tech in the title game when we win the Big 12.
The, Lubbock would probably melt down really bad. Like they would probably melt down worse than the announcement when they had to move their game to Friday against Houston.
We lost to a team with no money. What?
All that oil money wanted to get you absolutely nothing.
and you lose to Iowa State.
Yeah, and that would be some sort of vindication because now we can that would also too we can get the vindication of never winning a conference title off our back. And I always say this: you never know when. It could be this year, or it could be this coming year, the next year, whatever. At some point, Iowa State is going to break and at least win a one conference title.
And we are going to be going crazy whenever that does happen.
We're gonna have to revive Visha for that purpose.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
Well, you're going to be down there with me.
Yep. So we alluded to the private equity deal. So this is from On3. So the Big 12 voted to approve a private capital deal with Redbird Capital. So this is a private equity deal so this is kind of like what Utah did when they had that $500 million deal, but this is something from the entire conference. So it looks like this will be each team will get at least $12.5 million per school or something like that. Brett Yormark has been pretty proactive when it comes to these private equity deals and trying to branch out and find new ways for the conference to get money. But I think if the to me the only teams that are gonna go actually follow this through are the ones that are really really desperate. And I don't think Iowa State's in that desperate of a financial position because yes,
Well, we have a athletic director who's also really good with money, so it helps.
yeah,
With all
yeah.
this, with all the people, with all the shortcomings that people think that Jimmy Pollard has, he is very, very good with finances. I'll
Hmm.
say that.
Yep. Yeah. So, and one thing so he has that, but one thing I do, I guess, we talk I know something that Iowa State fans always wanted when it comes to Jimmy Pollard, like him selling beer, and um, this is something just off the dome of my head. I wanted to do maybe a draft for like top five like beer brands you want to see at Jack Tri Stadium and at Iowa State events.
Let's do this. Yes, let's do it, man.
So I gotta get a I gotta get a like. Are we doing? So we're doing like what beer brands sold in the U.S. I guess would be like the list.
Yeah, and probably we should probably just do domestics and not do craft beers because
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
our fan base doesn't drink craft beer, even though craft beer is good. But
yeah.
I get it. We're not that type of fan base.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess I'll let you have like the first pick, and we can maybe do like a snake draft if you will.
Yeah. All right.
So draft we can
So,
draft like a starting five, like it's basketball.
all right. Are we gonna do one, one, two, two, three, three, four, four, five, five?
Uh, no, we're doing snake, so you'll get the first, and I'll get the second and third
Okay.
picks, and so on and so forth.
Sounds good. All right. So my first pick is gonna be the obvious one. We gotta have Bush Light.
That makes sense. I guess in that, I guess we could include like, do we want to include like the bush, like lime bush apple, if that was to happen or not?
Those are all under Bush. So.
Okay, so just bush in general, just
Hmm.
like all right, yeah. I guess for me, and then I'll go ahead and take like my two picks. So I'll do Coors Light as my second, as my first pick, and then let's go with I'm gonna do Modelo's. I'm gonna do Modelo's.
Good choice. That's gonna be what we're drinking at my tailgate. Um.
Mm-hmm.
So my second pick and third pick. So my second pick will be Bud Light. No. My second one is gonna be Michelob Ultra, and then my third pick is gonna be Bud Light.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I could see like with the Michelobs, those are like I had those like because I think you Michelob's like one of those ones that you can just like drink a whole lot of and not feel
Hmm.
too like bad about.
Right.
Yeah, I think we can be okay and like passing the whole political thing when it came to Bud Light. I mean, I'm not the biggest
Man,
fan of it in
screw all that.
general.
Yeah.
I know it's like, come on, we're still talking about the political stuff. It's whatever, like that. It's passed by.
That's
Not my
past.
exact type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna go with that. Let's see. I guess for me, I would have to do. Hmm, I guess for this, we can just apply this to this year. I guess we'll do. I'll do Miller's, Miller Lite, and then we'll throw in. I'm gonna do PBR.
PBR. Okay, because you got it for Carter Paps.
Yep.
All right. So my last two, number four. My number four for me is gonna be um Yingling. Yingling is a solid beer because they finally brought it from the East Coast. I used to have to buy it when I used to go
Yeah.
to the Quad Cities to
Hmm.
bring it to the game, but now
Yep.
I can just buy it in Iowa.
Yep.
And then last they're probably not gonna have it, but I would have 312 for Goose Island.
Hmm. Okay. That's a pretty solid. All right. So that's a pretty solid lineup. Look. So I guess my last one. Ooh, I don't know if this one's gonna be too like I don't know how many people are gonna like this one, but I might have to go with Leinenkugels. Give me those summer shandies.
Ooh. So I'm not gonna lie, Summer Sandy is good any time of the year. I
Dude.
had somebody. It was cool because we were at a tailgate and somebody had a Oktoberfest of Yingling, and it
Ooh.
was spectacular. I got it at last year's Cyhawk game. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
spectacular.
Yep.
So if anybody heard these beer choices, we're gonna put a poll up and see who has the better beer taste between me or Cody. You
Yep.
guys can vote on that on the page. I will share it with my personal page. But yeah,
Yep.
I think that's we're gonna stop there, and we want to thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Believe in Iowa State podcast. As always, uh, thanks to our sponsor, FanDuel. There are a lot of things to bet on right now. World Cup, you have baseball, Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs. If you know ball, you can go and make money with FanDuel.
Hmm.
And also, you can find Cody on Twitter at TA Propaganda. Adam there at TA Propaganda. You
Yep.
can find me. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, this I'm gonna be talking a lot about Atlanta Braves baseball right now. We're the like as I mentioned in our baseball segment, we are the best team in Major League, and we are winning the World Series. And you can put that down on FanDuel.
Yeah, there you go. He's standing on what he said.
Mhm.
I am at Sci Guy, and here am I. I'm just hoping that the White Sox win 75 games. That'd be a 14 game improvement from last year. And that would be really exciting going into the next season. But who knows? They can do bigger things than that.
Mhm.
And also follow us on social media. We have 6 forms of social media: Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. You can follow the Twitch page at Believe in ISU 2025. Um, and that will be it for today's show. For Tyler Carter,
And for Cody Vancil,
this is the Believe in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
go Cyclones.